Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Multifamily Talks Live. I'm Krista Hurley, Industry Principal for RealPage, and I'm so excited to be here today with Josh Albrechtsen, Senior Vice President and General Manager for the Front Office Solutions here at RealPage, to chat about the impact of AI on multifamily leasing and marketing. Multifamily Talks Live is a live video series you can expect monthly, talking about all things multifamily here on LinkedIn. Think live, candid conversations in more bite-sized format. If you can't tune in, no worries. You can watch or listen to the replay using the link below or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And make sure to follow us on LinkedIn so you don't miss out on any new conversations. And don't forget to ask us any questions in the comment section for our guest speakers. So hi, Josh, welcome. Thanks for joining. Can you tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself?
Hey, sure. I'm happy to be here with you, Krista. So I'm the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Front Office at RealPage. I'm responsible for the Front Office platform, which is a suite of products that really make up the best way for multifamily operators to optimize their marketing and leasing operations, really that part of the renter's journey. My products include our marketing websites, digital advertising services, the online application and leasing experience, which includes identity, income, credit, and criminal screening as well, even our contact center. And then at the heart of all of that is our NOC CRM. So all of those products are things that I'm responsible for. I've been with RealPage 18 months and have a background in both prop tech as well as healthcare technology.
Wow, it doesn't feel like 18 months. That's crazy, Josh. Thank you so much for being here and being the leader of this team. I do have to reveal to our audience that this was meant to be more of like a Q&A back and forth between you and I, but I do want our audience to engage and ask questions as well. And early yesterday morning, we received some insights into National Exploratory Leasing Staff and AI survey, and would love to share a sneak peek here. And again, I'm going to still pepper you with questions, but let's review the what, how, and who of the survey. The study gathered valuable insights from leasing staff who shared their experiences with leasing processes, tools, and AI capabilities. It was a diverse population of multifamily leasing staff were recruited based on a mix of gender, educational level, income levels, geographies, and it was US only. Participants provided thoughtful input on their experiences, expectations, and tasks through Qualtrics. These insights can positively inform decisions about AI-enhanced capabilities in various rental journey phases, paving the way for more detailed product recommendations through additional testing. And our main goal in this research, we wanted to capture expectations, limitations of AI, and tasks that help leasing staff spend most time and what tasks they may be more comfortable delegating to AI agents to streamline their operations throughout lead gen, prospecting, leasing, and even some living phases of their renter journey. I'm super excited to share these results of the survey, but first, Josh, AI has evolved significantly over the past decade. Could you provide an overview of where we in the multifamily stand today from your perspective?
Sure. Yeah, it has evolved. So RealPage and part of many of the solutions in the multifamily industry for many years now have had AI solutions in market. For RealPage, going back over a decade, we've had solutions like AI revenue management, credit and criminal screening, asset valuation, ad spend optimizer. So a lot of examples, and when you put all of those examples into a bucket, they all revolve really around decision support. So enabling whether it's frontline leasing staff, property managers, operators, or even owners, enabling them to make better decisions with data and sometimes even predictive decisions. The latest technology curve that everyone on this call is probably very aware of is the advent of large language models and just how useful and advanced they've become. They're able to reason through and help not only make decisions, but converse back and forth with humans, with us. So this has opened up a ton of new use cases. And when you take a step back, you kind of start to see that AI is really falling into these two categories: decision support and then agentic AI, where these large language models can be put into AI agents that augment humans and complete tasks on their own.
Yeah, it's almost like AI was behind the scenes for a while. Now it's coming to the forefront as we move faster here.
It really is.
Yeah, so I do want to pulse our audience or our listeners today. So I have a question for you. What area of your daily work life would you like to see more AI? Is it A, marketing management, B, lead management, C, applicant management, or D, resident management? You can put your comments in the, put your answers in the comments by putting A, B, C, or D, or even just marketing management, lead applicant, or resident management. We really want to hear from you. So hopefully you can engage. And also be sure to ask any questions through the comments, and we will definitely address those as we can. So while we're waiting on that, I do want to dig into the study. So we had 4 key takeaways from the survey, and we'll reveal them one at a time. First up is marketing. We found that when it comes to listing management, most staff reported their reliance on AI to update content and optimize marketing efforts. In fact, in part of the survey, we asked, what tasks do you spend the most time on in your work with prospects, applicants, or residents? And almost 35% of respondents said creating and managing listings, taking photos, and promoting properties on various platforms. Josh, this is fascinating to me because I recently was in a webcast with a Google representative where we discussed how the search landscapes changed with the introduction of AI. So why is this so important to multifamily marketers?
Well, one thing I'll just mention is we will be talking about this at AIM. We have a masterclass with a senior leader from Google. We'll be talking about what this really means in the marketing landscape. As all of you know, the search engine landing pages or SERPs have changed dramatically, where there's now an AI overview. What I will say is that what we're seeing with our marketing products and services is that there's just so much leverage now. You can do so much more with less resource when it comes to marketing, whether that be writing copy, reviewing copy, editing images, keeping your listings up to date across listing sources. There are just so many things. We're even seeing people use AI to monitor their websites uptime. So just a tremendous amount of value creation in the marketing space, which we'll speak a lot more to in that session at AIM next week.
Yeah, I have some serious FOMO. I wish I was going to AIM this year. Definitely can't wait to hear all about it when you do get back. So we have seen some comments come in, resident management or use AI to manage routine prospect and resident tasks. So less about the leasing life cycle or applicant life cycle and more about residents so far. So keep sharing those comments. Thanks, Christine. Thanks, Justin. We love to hear from you guys. So when I do think about AI, it was first introduced to me. It's funny that you said contact center, and that's part of your coverage, Josh, because I started in the contact center with RealPage, and it was first introduced as a lead capture tool, which to me, obviously, it's been here a while, but it takes us to our key takeaway number 2 in our survey, which is lead management. Most staff members are open to delegating some tasks to AI and automate communication, especially for standard inquiries like property details, availability, lease terms, scheduling tours. 91% actually expressed positive sentiment towards AI. Josh, how do you see operators succeeding in implementing AI, but also maintaining that human aspect that is so important in our industry?
Yeah, so beyond this research, we've been doing a tremendous number of client meetings to really understand their perspectives here. And what the pattern that I've seen over and over is our clients and operators, they really value their leasing staff. They're tremendous assets. There's something certainly to be said about that human connection, especially when you talk about the key moments in the leasing life cycle where you're trying to get somebody to convert and make that decision to choose your property as their new home. So what we see is that there are a lot of activities that are more administrative, where AI is incredibly valuable. And then in addition, AI is just available 24/7. So when your leasing staff go home at night, AI, of course, can still answer the phone all through the night. We like to use an example where a renter realizes they want to move and kind of, as a joke, calls the phone number at 2 a.m. in the morning and is shocked when there's an answer on the other end. With our AI solutions, we're really big, especially in that leasing phase, of being very clear that this is a virtual assistant. We're not trying to imply that they're speaking to a human and trick the listener. And we make it really possible and easy for the renter to hand off to a live agent whenever they need to. But in terms of those more administrative tasks, there are a lot of them. So great example would be, let's say that you've scheduled a tour and you don't show up. AI will follow up with the renter on that, and it will not get annoyed. It'll honor the renter's preferences if it says, don't reach out to me anymore, but it will also keep following up and ultimately try to get that renter to tour. Those kinds of follow-ups are traditionally the tasks we see leasing offices really struggle with. That there are a million things going on in a leasing office, and that's a very proactive activity that's kind of administrative, where AI is just going to be a phenomenal resource to augment the leasing staff, freeing them up to do the real tours and having those conversations where someone's at that decision point.
I love that. I mean, coming from the contact center, we did used to say we augmented the leasing staff. And now that we have AI to do that, it's an incredible experience for you to see both of that. And then from the study, seeing how comfortable the on-site teams are with adopting AI technology, but only as an add-on, a layer in their team, not a complete takeaway. So thanks, Josh. So let's shift a bit into the third key takeaway from our survey, which is prospect management. And I might linger here for a bit because there was a lot of feedback and insights in this area from our survey. And most staff members say that they are in favor of AI providing guidance to the applicants during the application process, especially related to document submission. They're also comfortable with AI-powered reminders for application status updates. And then chatbots to address applicants' inquiries about common questions like, again, those mundane questions that you were mentioning earlier, Josh. And in this survey, we asked, what tasks do you spend the most time on in your work with prospects, applicants, and or residents? So, Josh, I want to zero in on the feedback regarding the AI-powered tools in prospect management. Given that 40% of the staff members in our survey spend the most time on the application process, an additional 42% on lease preparation, how do you think AI guidance, reminders, and chatbots could specifically streamline these tasks? Furthermore, are there any particular areas where you see the most potential for improvement here?
Yeah, when we've conducted kind of one-off research about what happens really in that application phase, I think what I was expecting to hear is I'm often answering questions to really help that person, want to live here. But the reality is a lot of leasing staff are fulfilling kind of a tech support role for applicants. Applicants get into the online application and they often have questions that are less about, is this where I want to live, and more about, how do I reset my password? How do I take a picture of my ID if I'm doing identity verification? What is a selfie? How does that work? So there are just a lot of technical support issues that can come up. As a product leader, I hear two things, there. One is, let's continue to make the online application experience even easier and easier. I don't think we're far off from a full online application experience that's 100% AI driven and conversational. I think that's coming. But for the experiences that we have today, let's plug in AI to do so much of that tech support and take that burden off of the leasing agents. So again, they can focus on those high value activities.
Yeah, that's so true. That tech support, I never really thought of it that way, but now that you think about it and I think of that engine, I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of mechanics that they don't need to be doing. So let's poll the audience again. What is your biggest concern about using AI assisting human tasks in the marketing and leasing operations? You can choose A, loss of personal touch, B, data privacy issues, C, reliability of AI tools, or D, cost of implementation. Again, you can write out loss of personal touch, data privacy issues, reliability of AI tools, cost of implementation, or A, B, C, or D. We'd love to hear from you. Please comment so we can go ahead and review that. And again, any questions that you may have for Josh, here he is, our Senior Vice President and GM of Front Office Solutions here at RealPage. He is available for you to ask those questions, so please enter them in the comments. Josh, let's talk about our last takeaway. Number 4, concerns about AI. Companies' AI readiness and strategy and data security were on a lot peppered into this survey. So we asked our surveyors, from your experience, what are the main barriers to adopt AI capabilities, tools, and technologies at your current job? 41% said, I have concerns about AI and issues with data security. My question to you is why? Why would they say that?
Yeah. I've heard this many times, and it makes so much sense to me, especially those kind of CIO, CTO, VP of technology roles that have been, on the hook in the past to make sure that the data of residents and prospects isn't used inappropriately. They feel a real ownership over taking care of that data. So first off, at least the way we do AI, we're not training AI models on data from our clients. In fact, there's no need to do that anymore. I suppose if you were trying to build your own LLM model a couple of years ago, that might have been something you looked at. But today, the models have come so far that there's not a need to train them per se. Instead, we're prompting them on how to behave and act. And for that, we're not using data to do that. So we can put that part of the concern aside, that there doesn't need to be a concern that the wealth of data that's in your property management system or your CRM is somehow being used to train at least our AI solution. But there are a lot of other areas to be thinking about. So for example, are the prices that your AI is giving to a renter the right prices? And there's two very concrete concerns that people should have there. One is hallucination. So large language models are tuned to want to give you the answer you want to hear. And sometimes they can even be manipulated to do so. And so you'll want to make sure that your AI vendor, with RealPage, we put a ton of controls in place to manage hallucination and ensure high accuracy in the prices and availability that's given. You don't want the AI to invent a unit or make up a price. The other very clear area with pricing and availability is around fee transparency, just in ensuring that the price that's communicated to the renter is one that complies with laws and regulations. That's a huge concern. We're quickly moving out of the phase where we can advertise base rent as the rent price anymore. We really have to disclose to renters not only base rent, but those mandatory recurring fees and one-time fees that come up as well. And so ensuring that the AI is enabled to do that's another huge concern.
Yeah, it's funny, you actually answered my next question is how is that data used to power the AI and how is it protected? Thank you for that coverage. We have asked a lot of great questions in the survey, but I want to kind of take it a step back, even though we're all the way through it. What are some of the challenges that you see multifamily marketing or leasing teams face when implementing AI?
Certainly there's these survey results show a lot of optimism about the adoption of AI, but what we've heard, at least anecdotally, is initially there's apprehension, a little bit of fear. Is this robot coming to take my job kind of stuff from the leasing agent? So there's certainly that social component that needs to be managed through and help them understand. At least my perspective is this is an incredible tool that empowers the staff, whether it's on the leasing side, the resident side of the house, wherever you're using AI. Um, I also think that when it comes to adoption, figuring out which of the tasks you want AI to handle for you is kind of an important question internally that an organization needs to answer.
Yeah,
AI will probably. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, what is your why? Like, let's start with that. Why do you need this? Yeah, and then kind of compound from there. I like it.
Yep. For example, is your why to offload some of those administrative tasks, which makes a lot of sense? Is your why to handle for a new centralization or regionalized staffing approach that you're trying to enable? Is your why to augment what your team is already doing every day? Is your why after hours coverage, but you really want your humans to be the face and voice of your company during normal office hours? One client told us they're trying to move to a 4-day work week. So having those answers before you select your vendor, I think, is going to be really crucial.
Yeah. So you did mention centralization, and I want to touch on that. What do you think the opportunities for centralization when it comes to AI in marketing and leasing specifically?
Yeah, certainly massive opportunities with AI. So with centralization, I actually like the term specialization a little bit better because it speaks to the idea that you're not usually, at least the strategies we've seen, hiring centralized teams that do everything, end-to-end leasing, resident management. They're typically geared around specific tasks or problem areas, say collections. And so what makes sense to me there is empowering those specific teams with specific AI for that problem or job that they're tasked with. Whether that be data collections, leasing, tour scheduling, there are all sorts of tasks that can be specialized. But that's the model we've seen play out a little bit more recently.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. I know there's more to come for sure. And back to the survey, Justin, Christine, and Arlie, excuse me, all said data privacy issues. So it does go in line with what you were saying and making sure that you do have those really particular guardrails up for your business. So thank you guys for commenting. We do have one question. If you want to go ahead and take that now, and then we can see if there's any more. So Arlie did ask, is tech support AI during applications currently available?
Yeah, great question. So this is something we're actively building and will first come to customers at the end of the second quarter of this year. So we're very close to putting the final touches on that. More announcements to come. I don't want to give specific dates quite yet because I want to make sure that we're accurate on that, but know that it's planned for this year.
Yes, exciting stuff. So bringing it back to the survey one last time, I wanted to share an interesting question that we posed to our surveyors and the feedback from our participants. The naming of AI as an added layer to your front office team. We asked, how would you prefer to call AI-enhanced interactions with prospects, applicants, and residents with various communication channels? 50% said AI assistant. In this study, we typically give our AI names to make the experience warmer, less transactional. It also helps with branding and the PMC's tone. But beware of over-humanizing with witty banter. Sometimes you just need a quick response, and prospects have grown to expect that. Josh, what are your thoughts on this question and the response of the survey?
This highlights another challenge with operationalizing AI, which is how do you report out on what AI is doing for you? There are a couple of different ways that you want to slice that. If you're a fee manager where you're accountable to owners on how productive both your human assets are as well as your AI assets are, you need to be able to represent that reporting in a way that represents both. We've heard stories where sometimes that reporting can make the AI look great, but your humans are somehow terrible, which obviously isn't the case. It's just how the data is represented. So I actually love the idea of representing all of the conversions as AI assisted, where AI did assist, and then where it didn't assist, it was that specific leasing agent. And being able to slice the data that way, and that's actually how our reporting is designed.
Yeah. I kind of correlate this to naming your car. I know that the last time we did one of these together, I asked you what you named your car, and I think at the time you didn't really have one. Have you and the kiddos named the car yet?
Well, that car got sold, and there's a new one that no, we're terrible and haven't named this one either.
That's okay.
Got to
'Cause,
take my
to each his own, it sounds like, and especially our
yeah.
surveyors were saying that, some like a name and some don't. So, well, thank you, Josh, for joining Multifamily Talks Live. This was truly a treat to review this survey with you and with the audience. I love the engagement. Thank you, guys. We're excited to continue this series and offer up valuable conversations and topics you can expect monthly. Make sure to follow us on LinkedIn for updates on upcoming live conversations. And we hope everyone enjoyed our conversation about the impact of AI on multifamily leasing and marketing. Happy Friday Eve, everyone. We'll see you next time.